Hello, Whiteboard Economist here, and welcome back to my channel. This is the next video on my series for Calculus 1. And as I promised from last time, we are going to go over some problems using chain rule. And so let's do that. Alright, so first let's start off with a problem that's relatively straightforward. We'll do, let's say f of x is equal to x to the fourth power, or parentheses x to the fourth power plus 3x squared minus 2 to the fifth power. Right, so this is our first example. Clearly you can see that this is there's an inner function and there's an outer function. So let's do chain rule. Right, let's first start by writing out g of x is equal to x to the fourth plus 3x squared minus 2, and your outer function f of g of x is simply g of x to the fifth power. Let's do u substitution. F of u is equal to u to the fifth power, and f prime of u is thus 5u to the fourth power, and you just plug g of x back into u. You get f prime of g of x is equal to 5 times x to the fourth plus 3x squared minus 2 to the fourth power. So that's your first part of the solution. Your second part of the solution is simply taking the derivative of g of x. So g prime of x is, this one is easy, it's just a polynomial. You get 4x cubed plus 6x. Since it's a constant, it becomes 0. Now all you do is multiply these two together. Then your final answer is thus 5 times x to the fourth plus 3x squared minus 2 to the fourth power times 4x cubed plus 6x. So this is the derivative of this function right here, and by using chain rule we get this. Alright, so that's our first example for this video. We'll do two more. The next example will be, well, let's do a fun one for the next example. And in my years as a student, whenever I hear a math teacher say, let's do a fun one, that's usually bad news. But not to scare you though, but let me write the problem out first, and then you can judge it for yourself. Alright, so let's do f of x is equal to 2 parentheses. Oh my god, this is bad. Okay. 2x plus minus 3 to the fourth power times x squared plus x plus 1 to the fifth power. So now you're looking at this problem and you're saying, whoa, you have two composite functions multiplied together. So what does this mean? That means you have to do chain rule and product rule to solve for the derivative. If you recall product rule, what's product rule? Well, that's product rule simply first times derivative of the second plus second times derivative of the first. That's product rule. We've done a video on this, so I'm sure you remember it. So let's do that. We need to use product rule. So product rule, first function is here. Here's your g of x. So first 2x minus 3 to the fourth power, that's your first function. Okay. Alright. Times the derivative of the second. Well, this one here, you have a composite function. So I'm just going to do it quickly because then I don't have enough space nearly enough space on my board to write everything out. So it's basically the derivative of the outer function, 5 times the x squared plus x plus 1, then times the derivative of the inner function, which is 2x plus 1. That's simply just chain rule. I did a quick way of chain rule, but once you get to that point, you'll be able to do this quickly as well. It just takes practice. Plus the second function, x squared plus x plus 1, 5 times derivative of the first, and then you do chain rule again. So derivative of the outer function, 4 times 2x minus 3 cubed times the derivative of the inner function, which is 2. Alright, so you get this monstrosity for your answer. And you can leave it at this if you want to, but there are some things you can factor out. You'll notice that you have 2x minus 3 to the 4th power, 2x minus 3 to the 3rd power on this side of the equation, and over here on this side you have this function and have this right here. So you can factor a few things out. This is just simple. This is just algebra. So I'll leave that to yourself. I'll just write the final answer down for you, and you can do the algebra yourself. Because at the end of the day, this is a calculus course, not an algebra course. So you have 2x minus 3 to the 3rd power times x squared plus x plus 1 to the 4th power times 28x squared minus 12x minus 7. So after you factor things out, this is the answer you'll get. Alright, so by using chain rule and product rule, you get from here to here. Alright, so let's move on to our last example. This one will also be a fun one. Alright, so we did chain rule and product rule combined. Now let's do a problem where you have to use chain rule twice. And just to make things more interesting, let's use trigonometric functions. Okay, so f of x is equal to cotangent squared sine. Oh, that should be theta. Sine theta. Alright, so okay, how would you even start this? Well, I've given you a hint. You're going to need to use chain rule twice. So if you rewrite this equation, it will be a bit clearer to you. So this can be written as cotangent sine theta squared. So you can see that this is an inner function, and this is the outer function right here. And if you take it one step further, you can see that this is an inner function, and this is the outer function. So yes, you'll have to do chain rule twice. So let's do the chain rule the first time. And so using this as your outer function, so you take the derivative of your outer function, that gives you 2 times cotangent sine theta, your inner function, times the derivative of your inner function. Well, how do you get the derivative of your inner function? You got to do chain rule again. So let's do this again. Derivative of the outer function, cotangent, that gives you negative cosecant squared sine theta times the derivative of the inner function, which is cosine theta. And of course, this was your inner function for the first chain rule. So this is your inner function, g prime of x, for your first chain rule. This was your f prime of g of x. And then again, here's your g prime of x, or g2 prime of x, we'll call this right here. And then here's your f2 prime of g of x. So this is how this was divided up. This is your second chain rule here, and this is your first chain rule here. Well, let's erase all this and simplify this out to get your answer. So after doing chain rule twice for this function, you get the final answer as negative 2 cotangent sine theta times cosecant squared sine theta cosine theta. So after doing chain rule twice, you will get your answer as this. Alright, so like I said, this just takes practice. A lot of times there are a lot of small steps involved, but as long as you keep your cool, just keep your steps in order and not make silly mistakes, chain rule shouldn't be that bad. Now, there are plenty of more practice problems for you in your book, so you can do more practice on your own. I just wanted to show you a few examples so you have a better foundation in chain rule. And well, we did 3 practice problems today. The last two were, I'll say the last two were pretty hard. So don't be worried if you found them to be a bit challenging. They were supposed to. So like I said, just keep practicing and you'll get chain rule eventually. And so that's all we have for this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it and found it informative, and as usual, have a nice day.